So welcome back. You're watching Luck on Sunday. Now, in the conversation I had with my producer leading up to this broadcast, I asked him if he would kindly book the chief executive of the Jockey Club. Something got lost in translation because he booked the executive chef for the Jockey Club. And here's where we are. Tom Parry, welcome, alongside Neil Phillips, the wine tipster.
Great to be in here, Nick. Great to be in. Yeah, it's good, you know.
It's a surreal Sunday morning for me, but it feels all the better now because I've got a nice glass of English wine to drink.
We thought you'd bring something different than croissants today.
Absolutely. Cornelius is worrying about there being no pastries. And Hayley's been catered for as well.
Yep.
Hayley, you're really pleased, aren't you? I've come in here. I know you like red wines, don't you? But you're just saying how much you're enjoying this Bolney Estate Pinot Gris.
I'm so happy right now. It's delicious.
Well, and as you're just saying beforehand, you know, just in terms of what's the average price you go for in terms of a bottle of wine?
I'd usually go like £15. I never go less than a tenner.
You can tell the difference between a professional sports person and a member of the racing media who's never spent more than a tenner on a bottle of wine.
Sometimes if I drink red wine and it's a cheap bottle, I wake up in the morning with like a red tongue and red lips. Is that like cheap wine, or is it?
That's a bit of tannin, that's okay. Don't worry about it, it's fine. Well, we're going to actually show you today, but we're going to show you a bit later, a sort of lighter red. So I know you like these sort of Beaujolais styles, Hayley, so you're going to enjoy this Pinot Noir coming from Bolney Estate in Sussex. So there you go, you know, but it's great to be in, Nick.
Well, it's great to have you here, Neil. We've been talking about it for a little while. You wanted to bring Tom as well.
Yeah,
Tom,
absolutely.
Thank you, because you provided us with the sustenance we're going to need, the sustenance I'm going to need to prepare myself for sparring with Mr. Bazalgette shortly.
So we thought we'd just bring some local food that we're using at the racecourse, using Severn smoked salmon, which is sustainability is fantastic, and that's within 20 miles from the racecourse. We've got a wonderful roll right, that's 20 miles from the racecourse. Very nutty, elegant, and it blends with the red wine that you're going to be tasting later on.
How lovely.
And because I know you always get croissants in, I thought I'd bring some sweet treats. Yesterday's afternoon tea, so you can have some sweetness this morning.
Would it be fair to say that the demands of people coming to the racecourse have got greater over time? You couldn't afford to rest on your laurels. You actually have to provide an experience like this for the higher end customer.
It's not just the high end, it's the whole racecourse. So we're thinking from people that are just generally racing and just want a burger. But if we're providing a burger, we're providing the best burger. Yeah. And it's not just Cheltenham, it's racing as a whole. So every racecourse in the country are trying to achieve the same thing, making a great day for the racecourse.
And it is important, isn't it, Cornelius, that people have good food at whatever level that they want to consume. You know, not everybody wants to sit down and have a 5-course gastronomic experience at a racecourse. No, but if you just want a sandwich, you want a nice sandwich.
I know plenty of people were put off for a time going to Leicester races after there used to be this brilliant stall just in front of the, just behind the stand, of beef baps, and people used to come to watch their horses or to follow the racing, but beef baps were part of the day, and then I think he retired. You know, there were some people who thought, because there's this awful word, I hate the word, the experience of the day. It's
the race day experience.
The race day. Oh, it's the most ghastly expression of all time. However, like all ghastly expressions, it makes complete sense. And the fact is that if you come, whatever you're doing, a race day, a day at the football, a day shopping, or whatever, it's about that experience. And the fact is, the racing could be fun, but you need a bit more than that. And the weather might be awful, as it was at Cheltenham yesterday. Yeah, conversely to Kelso, actually, you notice Kelso, absolutely glorious. But you know, so it's got to be good. The first bit of advice that my father ever gave me was never eat a pork pie on a racecourse. That was always the thing, because you know you'll be off work for a week. But we are talking 40.
Was that in the sort of certainly not a job. Yellow snow kind of category, isn't it?
Certainly. Well, there were bits of advice your parents pass on. That was pretty high on the list. And the fact is that you know, obviously it didn't apply on a Jockey Club racecourse. But nowadays the quality, you know, you don't get some skanky pork pies not available on a racecourse, is it? Which is great.
I think it's beef cobs in the Midlands, actually, not beef baps.
Cobs in the Midlands, Barms in the northwest. Yeah. Baps in Yorkshire, is it? It's Barms in the northwest.
In my house, it was a bap. But-
Where's your neck of the woods?
well, in the Midlands actually, but different parts.
I'm the East
Wales,
Midlands, so maybe it's Cobbs.
No, it's the South Midlands.
But it's interesting to see, because if you travel around, like Tom was saying, all the courses, but you see what's happening, like Alistair Coe at Carlisle, he's doing a brilliant job, and he actually, everything's listed out on the menu in terms of local suppliers. And as you say, Cornelius, when you go outside now, this is one of the things, people come racing, they wanted, on a day like yesterday at Cheltenham, they knew they could actually go and have something good to eat. It was pretty miserable. Great racing.
And the local connection is obviously big, not just in racing, but right the way across every menu in every institution. People, every supermarket as well, isn't it? They're loving getting that local produce quickly on the... I didn't know anything about fish until I was about 17, because I came from somewhere which was well away from the sea. And I missed out for the first part of my life. And, there are other things but there were other good things in the area that we lived in.
Well, would you like, speaking of fish, would you like to sample the... I think it's smoked salmon.
It's Severn wine smoked salmon.
Right. Well, as I come from Ross on Wye,
Ross and Wye in the Forest of Dean, and it's a salmon that.
Well, can I just take a little bit?
Go for it. Come on.
absolutely. And
Get in there.
oatcakes.
Get in there.
Come on.
They've actually created a Himalayan salt that room that they actually cure this salmon in. It's dried over 2 days, and it's only done for the racecourse.
You can only get this at Cheltenham.
That blend, yes.
Are you a smoked salmon?
Yeah,
Come
it's
on,
just saying so many people now are into sort of eating healthier foods, and even to the point where you've got the Waitrose and M&S garages that people, just to be healthy. It's like fitness as well. Everyone's in the gym more than they used to be.
We're looking at it. We've done a lot of work on vegetarianism, veganism. So we've been working with Little Green Rovers. So it's forest green, so it's in Nailsworth, so it's very next to the racecourse.
Yeah.
They're 100% allergen-free products, and they're just 100% vegan as well in the football stadium. But we're working with a product that they're making, so any burger or Swiss meatball, vegan meatball, is from them. So it's 100%
and it's worked,
allergen.
hasn't it? Because Forest Green are gradually climbing up the football league.
And they've really... there was discussions over being vegan and coming to the races, but we sat down and talked and described what we were trying to achieve, that everybody has something to eat at the races. And that
Could you feed the Notts County football team, please?
Do they need?
We got beat yesterday.
Do you think they need better sustenance than Notts County
They
players?
need something. I don't know what it is.
Where on, not being a massive Notts County devotee, where are Notts County at the moment?
So up until last year, we were the oldest club in the league. We were like 1862, but now we're in the National League.
You just slid down. So what chances of going back?
Well, we're
Depends on the
doing
diet,
okay. I think we're in about 5th or 6th, but it's like a bit of a hustle because Ollie Bell's a Yeovil supporter, isn't he, as well?
He is, yes.
So they went down with Notts County last year, so it's a little...
And the Yeovil thing got quite a lot of publicity as well. I'm not sure... Well, maybe I was just reading too much of Ollie Bell's Twitter
They don't
feed.
much like them,
But yeah, we'd be nice to get back into League 2 at least, but anyway.
Right, what else have you got for us, Tom?
We've got some wonderful roll right. So it's a small dairy around 20 miles away from the racecourse. It's very nutty. It's a brie-like cheese.
Yeah.
And it leaves a nutty flavour on your palate. It's wonderful with oatcakes. And we have a red wine that tastes very much like it as well.
Just to say as well that they're right near Charlie Longson's yard as well.
The
Cheese, yeah.
Take that and pass it on.
That's very good, that is.
Use fingers, is that all right?
Sorry, what was that again, Tom?
Roll right.
Roll right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So it's in the heart of the Cotswolds. I'm for bringing the spends that we have on the racecourse to the local economy as well as national. So we're all about best British, local, and I think a lot of the racecourses, I think majority of racecourses now, are in the same field of let's keep it local, let's keep it British, and that's small racecourses and that's large racecourses as well.
What do you think of that?
Really good.
It is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite punchy.
I'm not like, I don't enjoy cooking. I don't, the whole going to the supermarket process and getting the right ingredients is just a big mission for me. So I got this Mindful Chef app, and that's all, like, everything's gluten-free, because I've got celiac disease. I have to be super careful. Yeah. And so I ordered like 5 meals, and they delivered them 2 days later with, like, in bags with like a list of how to make it through the process, and it's like all of a sudden I can cook.
You get true food, not processed food.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with a lot of the diets. It's processed in the supermarkets, where these new businesses that are coming in, you're getting wholesome, true food without the processing additives, which is really good.
I'm always fascinated. I mean, you a few years ago made it quite public, your celiac disease, because there's a lot of people in the country who probably have it and don't know and are suffering and struggling. How do you marry that up with the nutrition you need to be a professional sports person? Not easy, I wouldn't have thought.
No, it's been a lot of trial and error. I found out I had celiac disease when I was 16, and they only just found out a way to detect it. And so I was doing my apprentice course at the racing school, and they came and said, we found a new way to detect celiac disease. Would anyone volunteer to give blood? So I was like, yeah, I'll do it, because it happens to small people, because it stops your growth. And so anyway, they said I might have it, and then I had to have an endoscopy, where you have a camera down your throat, which was gross. But and then found out I had it, and if I get it wrong, if I have something with gluten in it, it knocks me down the next day. I don't.
Yeah.
I just want to shut myself in a dark room. I've got no energy. I don't want to communicate with anyone. I feel sick, and it's really tough. So, but compared to then, I used to have to get my bread on prescription from the doctor.
Really? Yeah.
And it tasted like awful. And whereas now, you just walk down the, Tesco's. It's got so much.
It's grown. It used to be quite a solid gluten-free roll you could buy.
Yeah.
But you can actually buy fresh gluten-free bread, which is fantastic now.
So the fact that you are so careful, I guess, actually, it's probably ended up being an advantage, because you have to be anyway.
Yeah, because at the races, they supply the jockeys with food, and there's a lot of, chicken nuggets and fatty foods that you just sometimes, when you're tired and you're flagging and you just want to eat something, and you'll grab a few of them, but I can't, so I have to be careful, which is probably a good thing.
And that's something, because I have a tendency to go and have a chat with the jockeys, and it's something that we've grown with in the weighing rooms, that we're looking at dietaries as well as the chicken nuggets the jockeys do eat, but having products that everybody can eat within the weighing rooms, and it's snacks rather than substantial meals.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, because we don't want to have big dinners when we're about to go out and ride. Like, you kind of feel better when you're riding
especially
on an empty stomach.
Especially if you're on 2 or 3 rides during the day. Yeah.
So you just need a little nibble on
Nick, what are the apricots on that cheese board like?
Very nice.
Yeah. I've noticed that
if you like fried apricots, they're very nice. Not as nice as the cheese, though. And the good news is, Hayley, that you can eat cheese and you can drink wine.
Yes.
There's no issue.
I'm all right, thank you.
It's a good blend.
Tell you what,
there's no issue with the wine.
Try this red.
Right, we're going into the red. So the white was the Bolney
Estate Pinot Gris from
Pinot Grigio.
This is near Plumpton, isn't it?
Yes, near Plumpton.
You take a on the way to Plumpton. You take a road saying Bolney.
You can pop in. I mean, they've won lots of interesting with tasting. Nick, we've talked before about English wines. We've talked about sparkling. Obviously, we've got the Nyetimber here, but also
we have, and it was
Coates and Sealy as well.
You've sort of converted me a little bit since our early days, because the first time you produced an English wine, I sort of threatened to walk off.
Did you turn your nose over there?
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's getting it. But I mean, we've just done.
Quite light in colour.
It is. So we've got a Pinot Noir here, and I know, Hayley,
It's not going to give me red lips.
I think the growers
No, this is where we gave you red lips.
Yeah.
But
I think they're learning to,
I did really
what you can
enjoy
buy in the
that
continent
though. That was
and bringing it
lovely.
into the country.
Have you got any more bottles? Someday.
So they're doing better with the English wine.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I think this piece now, I mean, obviously 2018, massive harvest. Obviously, it was such a great summer. But we'll probably get about 12.5 million bottles there. This year was more challenging. So, it's been the rain coming as it has done. It's made it won't be such a big quantity in terms of vintage. However, quality will be very good. And Bolney Estate, for me, in terms of still wines, is certainly one of the best producers of still wines. There's no doubt about it. Because we talk, we had the Pinot Gris. Here we go. Let's go to the Pinot Noir. So look at the colour as well. And this is why we wanted to have it with the wonderful roll-right cheese.
Why? Tell me this, Neil. I've always wanted to know why
do we do
that? Is it just to look more sort of elegance.
Come on,
And it's not passing the time.
Pretend what we're talking about.
Just imagine you're on table 9 in a restaurant. You're thinking, I want to look really impressive here. I can do all of this. A couple of reasons. One is appearance tells you a lot about wine. In terms of, yesterday we had the box holders tasting at Cheltenham, and you're showing a real deep red. Key thing here is about smelling wine just to check the wine's okay, even if it's in screw cap.
How do you know if it's not okay? By smelling it?
One thing
I mean,
actually,
milk you can tell straight away, but wine.
But one of the key things
Smells
actually,
alright.
it smells well, yeah, absolutely. But if a wine ever looks dull, that's dull. If a wine ever looks dull, that is a big.
Like a horse when you go. So it's like going to the paddock.
Yeah, exactly.
The coat looks dull.
There you go, Cornelius.
And the comparison then with the Pinot Noir.
Yeah, there we go.
Gracious.
Because it's one of those things. So that's one thing. And then moving the wine around the glass here is also because you want to just check the wine is okay. So when you're doing wine judging, or anybody in a restaurant, this wine smells lovely, light and fruity red. Lots of lovely cherry fruits on the nose there. But if
Hayley, can you get the cherry fruits on the nose?
Come on, Hayley, you can do. Well, you can say what you think. I mean, that's the thing.
It's worth £15. I think it's as bad as the race day experience is cherry-flavoured fruit. I can't smell a single cherry in there, and I love cherry. However, I'm not saying it smells nasty or whatever. But it's like swirling the thing. It's all pretentious nonsense, isn't it?
Cornelius, hold on. Come on.
Well, not by you, because you're an expert, but by anyone else who tries to.
I'm striding back here. I tell you what, we're not having the croissants is
It's not a good
Neil,
drunk.
Neil.
Yeah, here we go.
I'll take that off him.
I'm getting notes of blackcurrant.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
But it's a light style of
Does that
wine.
have a cut? No.
But seriously, if you had a wine in cork and it has some, what you do is you get cork taint, and that will really, if it's full, it will smell of damp
so it is
cardboard.
actually
And that's
very nice.
that's the shame sometimes when people are trying wines and actually they're not quite right. That's the reason.
I think
This is lovely and light.
easy to drink.
This is great.
It's quite
Isn't
light
it?
and fruity, isn't
This
it?
would be very
I'd have a
It's
glass
really-
done in about 5 minutes.
It's a great example. 12.5% ABV, lovely wine, and it just shows you. Red wine production is tiny, obviously, across the UK. But the Pinot Noir is the great variety to go for here in terms of red wines in the UK, for sure.
I've got a question, sorry.
Well, I was just going, as well as swirling and all this nonsense about fruits,
Yeah.
why do you connoisseurs spit it out at the end? Why don't you sort of drink it properly?
Well, if I was, I did some judging the other day.
So why the spitting?
Well, because I was tasting 70 wines the other day when I was judging. So, so when you're actually doing that in terms of, that's why you do that. But also getting the air onto your palate just heightens all the senses there. You've got to give a wine a fair chance when you're judging, obviously.
Well, so if I was going to the supermarket to buy some wine, I always go French red.
Because you like those Beaujolais, don't you, as well?
But is that like not the best place to get it from?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
What's the difference?
Hayley, look, as far as I'm concerned in terms of wine, it's up to every.
Neil's got a mail order.
Yeah, I've got- yeah,
He can sort you out.
It's not necessarily right. It's just
we're
what
gonna-
I
we're
want
gonna have a
to
bit
know.
of
Phillips Limited.
We're going to have a bit of pyramid selling going on here, I think. But look, everybody's taking their own journey, Hayley, and that's the wonderful world of wine. Like we talk about global racing, wine is a global world. Look at China. Look at how China will emerge on the wine frontier, not only as consumers of fine wines, but also producing their own wines as well. France is doing a great job. If you like those lighter reds, they're great. But also, if you said to me one area to watch, is Languedoc-Roussillon down the south of France. You're getting great value and you're getting great varieties there in terms of all the different styles. Definitely an area to watch, really, for me.
And to accompany this Pinot Noir, so this light fruity Pinot Noir, Tom, you've got some pastries here for us. I mean, they're beautifully, beautifully made and produced. And this is all handmade?
So they're all handmade. Every single race meeting we do a different selection. And a key point is for the festival, we over the 4-day period, we use 85,000 individual cakes. And they're all handmade.
They look absolutely
How
magnificent.
many people does it take to make 85,000 cakes? That's an astonishing number.
A big factory.
So what would go what would go best with a nice fruity red like that?
Nothing too sweet. So we've got a black forest.
You were going to say nothing too sweet. weren't you?
Nothing too sweet. Whereas if we're using dark chocolate, it's not sweetness on the palate.
Right.
We have an apple, so it's a savoury against a savoury.
That's what, like a little apple strudel.
Yeah, little
type.
strudel. And then we've got a gluten-free macaroon.
Here we go.
A gluten-free macaroon. That is
Just for Hayley.
magnificent.
Come on, Hayley, there you go.
I hope it is gluten-free.
Cornelius.
It is.
It's stuff the rugby final. I'm coming here next week.
Nick, come on. Go for it.
Fantastic. I'm not. These look amazing. These dark chocolate things. But if I try and eat one of those now, there's just going to be all kinds of mess. So I might have to take
Not
the other.
favourable for when you're on camera.
But do you know what is really interesting? You know what Tom was just saying in terms of 85,000 cakes, but the planning, the
Thanks,
way
Tom.
that Paul Nicholls will be thinking about the Gold Cup next year. I mean, you were started thinking about the Gold Cup next year pretty much after this year's, didn't you?
Yeah, so from August time, because of when we're looking at meat and beef and lamb, we were starting to speak to the suppliers around August time. So my butcher, he then speaks, because 80% of our meat is from the southwest region.
Mm-hmm. So when you say your butcher, is that a guy or lady or whatever, or is it lots of them? Right.
So they then go to the abattoirs and to the breeders around the southwest region, and they work out the rearing of the animals ready for the festival.
Do you have loads of leftovers? You know you've got such a massive
We're very
population.
We're off to Cheltenham after this.
It's something that we are really working on with our sustainability, with waste, and capturing everything that we can.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to send them to hospitals and that kind of institution anymore, are you?
Why?
But if, for instance,
Well, I don't think they've
it's
got
all
to
to do with
themselves.
food safety,
Health and safety,
yeah.
Okay.
But if we do that, for instance, if we have an embalmment at a racecourse, we have links with food banks and local charities.
Okay.
So we then take that food that's been in the fridge and chilled environment to them, so that it's not wasted.
Yeah.
And we'd rather have people eating it than to be going to landfill.
I was struck talking about sustainability and the environment, etc., and I didn't go and look at it closely on Friday because I was in a hurry. But the Jockey Club is obviously doing something with plastic glasses and plastic caps, is it? Which looked really interesting. It was quite a long poster, so I thought I'll wait for the November meeting to have a good look at that.
Basically, what we've been doing at Cheltenham is the reduction of plastics.
Right.
Everything from having a pint of beer, straws, stirrers.
You were right. You were very prominent on the straw front, weren't
Straws,
you?
and then also soft drinks as well.
Right.
So we're looking at we only have cans, which is a reduction of plastic. And we're also looking at low and no as well.
Just got to get used to the cans because I had to in
water,
the media centre because they're sort of dark coloured cans and they look slightly as though they're an energy drink if one's honest. But having said that, they taste
and
very
we've
good.
even looked at tea bags because there's a lot of tea bags that are actually sealed with plastic.
He's seen a bottle and Neil's not going to open it, but he couldn't resist. This is going to be getting ready for your flight to California later on.
I know.
You needed the practice, didn't you?
He's going to need someone to carry some.
That's a professional drinker.
Listen to that.
That's someone who may occasionally have opened a bottle of champagne. So this, Neil, is there a glass? Is there fresh glass? Fresh. Always have to have a fresh glass. Always have to have a fresh glass.
I think we'll have to. We'll have to do a bit of adapting here.
Okay, fine, we can do it.
Okay. Because what you can do is just taste the red and then just pour.
That's the red, and then just. And what is this?
This is Nyetimber. This is actually their Blanc de Blanc. So this is 2013, and about 70% of our production, 75 is sparkling. And Nick just couldn't resist. I know Nick likes bubbles, folks. You ought to taste this because 2013. It's
champagne.
We can't call it champagne. Champagne can only come from the Champagne region.
Prosecco?
And Prosecco can only come from Italy. Interesting enough. So the whole thing about bubbles in the UK, Hayley, we love bubbles, and we know the growth of bubbles has been amazing.
Unlike champagne and Prosecco, it won't be affected by Brexit.
It won't be affected by Brexit. And we do actually, we import 50% of the wines coming to the UK from the EU. But here, this is. Have a taste of this because this is. You're going to stretch. Are we going to move it around?
I think I've probably had enough.
Okay. Hayley, try that. Go on. Because this shows you. I mean, Nyetimber are right up there in terms of producing. Again, from Sussex, we have them at Cheltenham. We were showing the wines yesterday. They have the classic cuvee. They're rosé, and we are doing some really good sparkling rosés now. And this is 100% Chardonnay, 2013. Still. It's got quite a few years on it for me. You could drink this in 2 or 3 years' time.
So, what is it like? Sparkling wine then?
Yes, sparkling wine. Sparkling wine. So
I like it more than Prosecco.
Prosecco's a different style. So Prosecco's very soft. You might have a bit more residual there as well.
Neil, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Tom, thank you very much as well for feeding us and lubricating us this morning.
That's, as they say, the dot on the card.
I'm afraid I cannot promise this to all our guests every week, but thank you, and I think you found the captive audience as well, Cornelius.
I think,
Cornelius will be back later in the programme for our talking points, and Hayley, thank you very much. You're going to help these guys take all this out, eat it all in the green room, he grandly calls it. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Not at all. Hayley Turner, Tom Parry, and Neil Phillips.